Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Should I Read That? I'm John. This is episode 17. Today is the book, The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts by Dr. Gary Chapman. Now wait, don't turn the video off yet if you're not married, because some people think about love languages and they're like, oh, I'll wait until I'm in love before I learn about love. Well, don't. I mean, reading this book has, and I've read it a couple times and listened to the audiobook with a friend. I'll share a story about that in a minute. But it gives you a framework for interpreting people's reactions to your actions. It's great. It gives you a different worldview in a way. So I highly recommend it. I'll talk a little bit about the author at the end of the video, and let's jump right into it. So first of all, a story. On my way out to Colorado last summer, I was working at a camp called Summit, and I was with my buddy Alex. We were driving from Hillsdale, Michigan to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we had like 18, 20 hours worth of time on the road. So what are we gonna do? We listened to an audiobook of the 5 love languages for singles. Both of us were single at the time. And it was great. So what else are you gonna do, right? Anyway, when we got to Summit, we had listened to all this, and I talked to Alex. I was like, hey man, when I go and meet my buddy Daniel, I haven't seen him in months. It's gonna be awesome to see him again. Watch how I interact with him, because it's very indicative of his love language. So as soon as I saw Daniel, I was like, man, it's so good to see you. I run up to him, I give him a big bear hug, and I don't know, we probably rocked back and forth, and later on I'm sitting by him on the couch, and the dude has his arm around me. I love you, Daniel. You're awesome, man. And later on, I was talking to Alex, and he's like, oh yeah, I can tell his love language is physical touch. And like by communicating that, giving a guy a big bear hug, slapping him on the back, you know, all that stuff, it communicates our emotional connection to somebody, and their love tank is full, and they react and respond better. And now, not all love is romantic love. In the first 3 pages or 3 chapters of the book, they talk about romantic love between couples. It changes over time, and you have to go from just that tingly feeling to real deposits of these 5 love languages in a way that someone will actually receive it and respond accordingly. So we'll jump right into it. I've got 2 quotes to share with you guys. First of all, on page 82, it says, in all the, I think I have it right here. Yeah, there we go. Almost everything ever written on the subject of love indicates that at the heart of love is the spirit of giving. Now, it doesn't necessarily just mean giving gifts, although that's part of it for some people. But giving means that you are being selfless. It's not just a feeling. Love is an action, it's a verb. And the other one says, let's see, it's on page 110, a tender hug communicates love to any child, but it shouts love to the child whose primary love language is physical touch. The same is true of adults. So now, not only for physical touch, but in all of the love languages, when you communicate correctly to the person who receives that, man, they understand it and they respond in a way that is astronomically better than any of the other love languages. Some people have a primary and secondary, but let's jump right into it. So again, they use the word language for a reason. Have you ever been talking with someone who doesn't understand your language, or even is speaking a different dialect of the language you actually speak? I mean, I've talked to people from Australia and Britain and, you know, the South, and sometimes it's hard to understand them. They were speaking a different dialect of English. But if I was talking to somebody from Thailand or Korea or something like that, and they were speaking their native tongue, I might be able to get a little bit of it, but I definitely wouldn't get any nuance or meaning from the conversation. You might get the general gist, but that's about it. So we'll talk about the 5 quick a second. Words of affirmation, quality time, giving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. So there's nuances to all of these. You'll have to go read the book to really get into them. But words of affirmation, actually speaking compliments or encouraging someone, be aware with this personality or love language type, it cuts the other way. So be very careful with what you say. Second one, quality time. Quality time doesn't mean the phone, it doesn't mean Netflix and chill, none of that stuff. You have to actually be present with the person that you're with. Now, sometimes it's quality conversations, sometimes it's quality activities. Me and my buddy Nate, we are all about quality activities. It's awesome, man. And that's one of my love languages, so it's super fun for me, and it really is for him as well. So the other one, our third one, gifts. Gifts do not have to be astronomically expensive. Boy, I said astronomically twice in a video. Anyway, they don't have to be fantastically or ridiculously expensive for someone to receive love. Now, if you are able to give something very expensive and they are expecting it, like, don't give somebody a washer for a wedding ring. It's not going to work out real well. But, if you just are on a run and you see a pretty feather and you bring it back to your girlfriend, be like, hey, I was thinking of you. Man, that could go over great if her love language is gifts. Fourth one, acts of service. Now, acts of service is literally doing something that your spouse or your partner or the person that you want to communicate to wants you to do. Lists are helpful with this one. Sometimes it's hard to put a list on love in a lot of the other ones, but lists are very much helpful in acts of service. So just do what they want you to do, and they feel love just as strongly as if you had given them a kiss, if you're a physical touch person, or if you said, I love you, if they're a words of affirmation person. It's just as strong. Last one, physical touch. Now, physical touch can be both intentional and implicit, or explicit and implicit. So it doesn't just mean sex. It doesn't just mean, whatever you want to put a label on. Physical touch is simply, contact between individuals. So again, explicit physical touch would be, a back rub or kissing or whatever. And implicit might just be a slap on the back, a hand on the shoulder, brushing against somebody in the hallway, whatever it is. They talk specifically about couples in this book, so that's where a lot of the examples come from. So guys, I really highly recommend this book. Dr. Gary Chapman has been a marriage counselor for over 30 years. He has so many stories of real life couples and individuals who changed their marriage throughout the course of time. This is not an overnight thing. Again, it's a process, and I encourage you to go check it out. If you haven't read the book already, you are definitely missing out. So I will catch you next week for episode 18. I'll see you on the blog. Hopefully we'll get a little more detail down there, and catch you later.